Mm. Yo, how's it going, Ivan? Bet that. Bet that. Bet that. Bet that. Close that. All right. But I have my first appointment of the day. Let's get it. All right. Hello, hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, how's it going, Ivan?
All right. Good in yourself?
Pretty good, pretty good. Looking sharp, bro. I like the polo.
Thank you.
How you been? How
Oh,
you
I
been,
felt
bro?
different now. I'm good. How about you?
I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good too. Are you enjoying your summer now or what?
Yeah, I am. About to start working uh back at campus and then hopefully get another job. I applied for Jamba, see how that goes.
Hey, there you go, bro. Good luck. Good luck. No, yeah, I've been
Thank
talking to
you.
a few college students, and most of them are getting interviews now too. I actually just recently got a job too. I just came back home. I'm from the Bay Area, and so
Hmm.
I just recently got a job back at the bank. So I'm in the process of getting working back at Wells Fargo. So I'm
Oh, for real?
excited.
That's cool.
I'm excited for that. But yeah, man. I mean, it's a pleasure to finally meet you today, bro. I know you were interested, in learning more about my business. I kind of just
Yeah.
wanted to like just let you know, we might not talk so much about business today. I kind of just want to get to know you more. I want you to get to know me
Yeah.
more because I feel like that's very important when it comes to like maybe like a long term partnership. But
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, before we kind of go into, I kind of want to tell you a little bit more about myself, just so you know who I am, because I know you kind of just saw me through like LinkedIn. You're like, oh, this guy's probably a bot or something. So you're like, I wonder who this guy
Yeah.
is. But no, yeah. So my name is Christopher Castañeda. I have a background in management, business, and economics. That's what I was majoring
Hmm.
in, and so if I'm being completely honest with you, man, like what a year ago, I was a completely different person. Like
Yeah.
I didn't have my own business. I wasn't under mentorship, but even like besides all that, I was just really hanging around, like not such good people, and so
Hmm.
it was kind of just like I wasn't really doing the right things, wasn't really like heading the right direction. I'm not sure if you can maybe relate with me on that, but I would just always hang around people who just weren't really didn't have the same goals as me, because I always
Yeah.
wanted to do more than the average person. But kind of like, I mean, like before we get into it, man, like I want to ask you, but like, where are you from?
I'm from LA.
Are you from
Yeah.
LA? Okay, for sure. What
Yeah, I'm
part?
from LA. Compton.
Compton. Okay, that's actually
Yeah.
crazy. My business coach is from Compton.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
cool.
What was that?
That's cool. That's cool.
No, no, yeah, my business coach, she's actually from Compton, and so every time we talk about it, and like I talk to people from LA, my coach is like, "Oh man, if they're from the hood, let me know." And I was like, "Ah," but no, yeah, that's cool. That's cool. I also have another business partner. Um,
Yeah.
oh, what part is he from again? I forget exactly what area, but I just know that he's like also in not such a good area, but he has like this little
Yeah.
elementary school in front of him. It's called like Stoner Stars. It's crazy. I'm like,
Okay.
I'm like, nah, it's for an elementary school, man. That's a crazy name. But
That's a crazy name.
no, yeah, it is. But besides that, no, yeah. So I mean, we're pretty far from each other, but I mean, no
Mhm.
worries. That's why I really like this business because it's more about networking. Really, just getting to know more people. But yeah, kind of going back into my story. I come from like an immigrant background. So my parents they both came here. My mom was like 7 and my dad was 16. So they really
Mhm.
just came from Mexico, not really knowing what to do besides work. And so, kind of just growing up, seeing my parents, not so much, just seeing them work, just provide a roof over our heads and to put food on the plate has always kind of made me like I say like hungry. Like always made me ambitious to want to do more. I'm not
Yeah.
sure if you're familiar with like maybe like what when you were like in elementary school or middle school. If you ever like seen those kids like selling chips and like Arizonas, I was for
I
surely
was
one
one
of
of
them.
those kids. I
I
was one
was
of
one
those
of those
kids.
kids too. I was one of
I
the.
was one of
I
those.
would my little duffel bag with me. I bring an extra backpack
Yep.
just with like all the snacks. Yep, yeah, I was one of those kids. So I was always hustling, and I did it
Yeah.
because I didn't like to ask my parents for money because I knew we didn't have money. So I was
Yeah.
like, man, like when it came to like field trips and things like that, I'm like, all right, like what am I gonna pull off this time? Like I gotta sell some Takis, some hot Cheetos. Like I already had it planned
Yeah.
in my head. So I feel like well, you can definitely relate with that, because you were one of those kids too. But
Yeah.
not just that, but I mean, yeah, just growing up, seeing my parents work so much, so much. I was like, man, like I want to be able to give back to them, and so pretty much like my whole childhood, I did everything but give back to them. If anything, I took away from them more, and it really hurt me, because what at the age of 15, I actually got arrested, and I was a convicted felon, and
Mhm.
I didn't kill anybody, but I just did some vandalizing. I was at the wrong place at the
Yeah.
wrong time, but
Yeah.
that really disappointed my parents, and it put my mom, my dad through through depression. They were just super disappointed because I'm the middle child. They were like, we would have never expected this from you, maybe your older
Mhm.
brother, but not you.
Mhm.
And so
Yeah.
it I really hit them where it hurt, and that really made me reflect because not only did I get arrested, but it was New Year's when I got arrested. So like I was
Oh.
starting off the New Year's pretty bad. I was in the cop car,
Yeah.
fireworks are going off and stuff, and I'm like, dang, like what am I doing with my life? And I was 15 at the time. Like most of my friends, they don't got jobs. They're just kind of just living life, like just chilling. Well, I was like a freshman in high school at the time. Yeah, I remember it was like, yeah, my
Hmm.
freshman year in high school. And so, after that, I was only in there for like a weekend, like 2, 3 days around that, and I was able to get out, and I just had like this huge restitution fee, and I just like went through like a continuation school. My school expelled me. I just went through a lot of things that really sucked at a young
Hmm.
age, and so because of that, I had to get a job at 15 years old. None of my friends were working at that age, and so I was like, dang man, like I'm over here scooping ice cream for like $12 an hour. Like this is not fun, like. So
Hmm.
something that like I tell a lot of college students, like when I talk to them, when I get to know them, I'm like, I feel like what is it? I feel like maturity doesn't come with age, but it comes with
Yeah.
responsibility. And so I feel like I don't know, maybe you can relate with this, but I feel like a lot of young, ambitious people, I feel like they mature at a lot younger age than most people because we go through things, just life hits us, a lot earlier than some other people. And kind of just going through all that, just really made me like I say ambitious to like want to actually give back to my parents because I'm like, man, they came to this country to give us a better future. Yeah, I'm making it worse, So I wasn't
Hmm.
really thinking for them. I was just thinking for myself and being really selfish. But
Yeah.
as kind of time went on, I ended up transferring, to like a new high school. My mom was like, Christopher, I know you're not a bad kid, but the people you hang around with are bad people. And I was like, you know what, mom, like you might be right. I don't want to do it. I don't want to leave all my friends. And she's like, you know what, like it's gonna suck, but you're gonna have to do it. So she ended up just making the transition. I did it, and I took some class called Avid. It's like a college career readiness type of thing,
I
and
was an avid.
yeah, and that thing just shifted. It didn't really shift my
Yeah.
mindset. I still had set on like, all right, you know what? Once I get out of high school, I'm gonna work 2 jobs, and I'm just gonna buy myself a nice car. Why? Because I saw my brother do that. My brother worked at the bank.
Mhm.
No, he worked at the casino, and he worked at like some other job, and he just bought himself a nice BMW. But what I didn't realize is that he only drove his nice BMW to and from work. He didn't get to enjoy it. He had no time. He worked the graveyard shift and then he worked in the mornings. Like he worked in the afternoon. So I'm like, dang, like I want what he has, but I don't want that lifestyle. And
Yeah.
so kind of, like I was like, man, like I don't know what I want to do for the future. So I was just really confused. And Avid is where I kind of really realized, hey, I can go to college. Me, I'm gonna be honest, bro. When it comes to school, like C's get degrees for me, man. C's like
Yeah.
maybe B's. I get some A's sometimes. It's not saying I only get C's, but I was never the smartest person in the room. So something that my business coach told me. She was all like, Christopher, it's not about so much about what you know, but it's about who you know, and you know that really hit me because when I was like, making the decision to even want to come to college, I'm like, man, should I even go to college? Should I just go to a JC? Should I go to a UC? Should I go to a CSU? I didn't have the best GPA. I had like a 3.4. Every college, like every UC pretty much denied me besides Merced. I went to Merced, gave me the best financial aid package, and I went mainly to make connections, to meet new people because of what my coach had told me. She's like, I really didn't know so much myself. I wasn't math is not my strong suit. Almost every math class I was getting like a C, maybe like a B
Mhm.
minus if I was lucky.
Yeah.
But when it came to like things like that, I just wasn't really so academically inclined. But as time went on, I actually got connected to my business partner. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to make it today. I would like to introduce you to him maybe in the future. Let's say we meet up again, maybe like in some later times if you're still interested in learning more. I'd love to introduce him. He's someone who kind of introduced this opportunity to me and really helped me a lot and I'd say grow a lot as well. And it was actually like around like the same time actually. I was like finishing up my second to last week of finals, my first year in college, and so I'm about to be a third year now. But yeah, I didn't even ask you. Are you second, third year?
A fourth year.
You're a fourth year now.
Yeah.
Okay, for sure. Yeah, there you go. So you're what? You're a year ahead of me, and
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, just like my business partner Tona, he's a fourth year now too. But you know, he really I'd say opened the door for me to see what's really out there. Because I was kind of just in my bubble when I was at Merced, especially being a freshman. Man, I was just partying and drinking, smoking. Didn't really know what I wanted to do. So I was like, oh, you know what? Let me join business society. That's gonna help me. Maybe it taught me how to dress. Didn't really teach me much. Taught me some things
Mhm.
about networking, some things about like interviews. Most of the things I worked, they were kind of common sense. I can find that online, but I was just trying to do something more. And so when this opportunity kind of rose to me, I was like, oh, you know what? Let me give it a try. Because I'm always someone who's been, I'd say, open minded, and when you put something on the like in front of me, I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna put it on my plate. But at the same time, I realized that was kind of one of my biggest weaknesses. You know, I like to put too much on my plate, and then I realized, hey, you know what? I can't do all these things. So you know, over time, I started to kind of develop that and see that, like to foresee the consequences. But yeah, I mean, that's just a little bit about me. I kind of just wanted to give you maybe like, just a little bit of, some more information about me, just so I'm not a complete stranger still, even though we
Yeah.
probably still are. But I mean, I kind of want to ask you, Ivan, like, if you can maybe share a little bit about yourself, just so I can, know who
Yeah.
I'm talking to today.
Yeah. What you want to know? I can tell you a few different things.
I
Um,
mean, feel free to share whatever. I mean, you don't gotta. You could be about school, about your life, about work. I mean, honestly, like, I don't want it to be like an interview. Like I'm not gonna
yeah,
be
yeah,
asking you like this, and that. I just want to get to know you. Like, to be honest.
yeah. So obviously I'm a fourth year. Technically going into my fifth because I graduate next some semester in December.
Okay.
Might hold off until the next semester next year so I can graduate like on the stage, on the field with everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, my what is my what is it? My thing is management business economics. My major, could not think of the word.
No,
My
you're
major
good.
is management business economics. I've been into entrepreneurship. So when I was little, I used to sell chips and stuff like that. I got away with it too most of the time because I play soccer, so it was normal for me to carry a duffel bag around,
Yeah, that makes
right?
sense.
And
You're
I
very
had
smart
my
with
my
it.
training stuff in there. Yep, exactly. I mean, I got caught, but I kept going
Nah,
because I
me
needed
too.
the
Me
money.
too.
So
I got cut, but I kept going. My mom even had to come
yeah.
in and do that stuff. But yeah.
Yeah, my mom helped me out too. She was like, I'll help you buy the chips this one time. You sell them, pay me back what you owe me, and then you buy the chips with what you have." I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, sounds cool. So I did that for a while. I did that for a good 2 years, I think. Made some good amount of money. Um, and then it was the same thing with you. Like I had the 3.4, 3.5 GPA, something like that. Uh, I got accepted to a few CSUs. Obviously, I would have got accepted to any community college that I decided to go to. And then for the
Mm-hmm.
UCs, I think I got waitlisted for Irvine,
Mm.
but only got accepted by Merced. So
Yeah.
I'm like, I went to go check out the other CSU schools, and I'm like, okay, this is a UC. Maybe this will offer me something that a CSU won't. So that's why I went with Merced, right?
Yeah.
And then over time here, taking the classes, I didn't officially declare for my major actually until my third year, but I was
Oh.
taking classes for it because I was just feeling it out. My first year, my second year, I'm like, okay, maybe this is what I want to do. Then I got lazy, didn't want to apply for the major, and I finally ended up
Mm.
doing it. And so like I'm now committed to finishing it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then sometime within the last year and a half. I've been really getting into like clothes and stuff like that, fashion. So
Mm.
like I started making my own clothes, designing my own clothes. I actually have like how many pieces? I have two pieces here, three pieces here. A shirt. I made two shirts. I made two sweats. I actually wear the sweats daily. Those things are so comfortable. But yeah, I'm in the process of making more. I want to make like a brand that stands for like how I think fashion should be like
Mm.
a mix of street fashion and or like streetwear and like casual wear mixed in together to
Mm.
like imagine be able to wear sweats to an interview, man. Like you have sweats that you can wear daily, but like sweats that you're able to dress up. You feel me? Like
Nah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
I've actually never thought about
yeah.
that,
So,
but that's a good idea, though. I like that. Yeah, you're
hmm
creative with it, man. Yeah, it's nice.
so that's what I'm trying to do, and I've been really committed to that. Obviously, school this last semester has been like holding me back from it a little bit. So in the summer, right now, I'm gonna get back into it. But like, yeah, I have a manufacturer. I actually have one of my sisters, Diaz, works with clothes too. So I'm probably gonna
Mm.
hit her up too and see how that goes. See if I can get a better connection with her and be able to develop the clothes like in person, right? Because the person I'm working with is in Pakistan.
Oh wow.
And he supplies good clothes, maybe a little bit on the expensive side, but he's like the quality of the clothes he provides is really good.
Mm.
So I don't mind it for now. And yeah, that's pretty much me. I know I still play soccer. I play on the Sunday league. I used to play semi-professional. I used to play for Merced United. They don't have a season right now, but I played for them like a year ago. And then I'm still planning to keep playing. So hopefully try out for some other teams in the future. Um, which I hope that goes well because that's not something I want to give up. I feel like it's part of me
Yeah.
and something I want to incorporate in everything I do. Like, well, I play soccer, but that's playing soccer is what has made me me. Like, it's made me
Mm.
competitive.
Mm.
Has made it easy to work in teams, and has just made me want to reach for more and not give up. You know?
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Yeah, no, and I really appreciate you sharing that, Ivan. A few things actually stuck out with me. When you kind of shared that. Obviously, like the first one was like, we have like the same kind of background. I say, like when it came to like
Yeah.
selling chips, things like that. I could tell, you're a very ambitious individual, and another thing was that you're pretty resourceful, especially with your connections. Like you said, your tia, you had a connection with your tia, and how your suppliers in Pakistan. Like me personally, I don't know how I'd get something like that. So props to you for being able to do something like that. So
Thank you.
yeah, like I'm surprised, but I'm also like yeah, I'm proud. But a big thing too with soccer, sports. For me, I was really big into soccer when I was a kid, and just recently I've been playing it with some of my business partners, kind of just like you, just like a Sunday league type of thing. We kind of just go out, we just play soccer. Like some of my
Mm-hmm.
coach, he's like cracked at soccer, but
Mm-hmm.
like we kind of just go out, we just play for fun sometimes. But like you said, I feel like it's a part of me too. But I say for me, what kind of really gave me that competitive edge, that I wouldn't really say teamwork, but with wrestling. I did a lot of wrestling. I did that for like what I think
Mm-hmm.
like 3 4 years. So I was like in the varsity wrestling like all my high school years, and so I started off in like middle school, and it's something that at first I didn't even want to do. My friend was like, "Oh, just do it because I'm doing it," and I was like, "Bro, I do not want to do this," and I just did it, and I ended up liking it a lot. I like slamming people. It sounds bad, but that was like some time ago. But I'd say like for like like team players, things like that. Like I played basketball as well too, and I did play soccer my senior year too. I didn't make the team, unfortunately. I tried out. I was there every single day, consistent. The coach was like, "Oh, you know what? I like your work ethic. You want to be like the team captain." And I'm like, "Bro, you want to make me water boy? Like, nah, I'm not doing that." And so like I kind of got pressed, but soccer's always kind of been in my blood. I mean, I'm Mexican. I've always like I used to play a lot when I was like what I think it was like elementary school. That's when I like to say that I was pretty cracked. But now I'm like, all right, like just put me as
Yeah.
defender, and like they're not getting past me. But yeah, and it's really cool, my man. I mean, what position do you play for soccer?
I play cam, which is center attacking mid.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that describes me a lot too, because I feel like being in that position, you have to be creative and direct.
Oh yeah.
Um, so I'm always trying to be up there,
No,
face
yeah.
to face with my defenders. You know?
Yeah, no, yeah, you're up there, and then when they start being aggressive, you got to come back and help the team out too. So no,
Yeah,
I
exactly.
definitely know where you're coming from with that. But yeah, man, no, I mean, I'm curious, like by the looks of your name and like by looking at you, are you like Mexican,
I'm Salvadorian.
Salvadorian? Okay, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay,
hmm
what part of El Salvador, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, my grandpa is from Coatepeque, and
Coatepeque.
my
Okay.
grandma is from a town a few hours away. Don't really remember the name, but
Uh,
yeah, most of my family's from um that area, Coatepeque, and I forgot the other name, but it's like close by. I went to go visit it, and I can't believe I forgot. That's a little bit sad of me,
nah, you're
but
good. I mean, no, I mean that's dope though. Like just like you, well, not like you like that part, but I went to go visit as well. I mean, I'm from my parents are from Mexico. My dad's
mm,
from Jalisco, and my mom is too. My
mm,
mom's from Puerto Vallarta, some nice beach area, and then my dad's more from like small town to San Jose de Gracia, super small
mm,
town. I went there to go visit. I really liked it a lot. It was like a culture shock to me. I'm gonna be honest, because I went down
yeah,
there, like people knew I was like I came from like the north end. They were like, "Oh, he has tepocho, this and that." And I'm like, "What the heck? Like what? Like how they know? Like I'm talking Spanish, but you could just tell like mi acento, like it
yeah,
wasn't the same. Like they could just
yeah,
tell, and like the way I dress and stuff like that. Like I tried dressing Mexican, but I guess it was too much. But no,
yeah.
yeah, man, like that's cool. I went like what I think 3 4 years ago now. It was kind of a while ago, but definitely want to go back. But no, yeah, man. I mean, I appreciate you like you kind of sharing those like those some of those personal things that you've been kind of doing. I'm kind of curious, like what made you want to go into like the clothing line of like that like clothing brand business? Like was it someone that like kind of influenced you, or like did you just see it and like you wanted to try that out, or has that been something like a passion of yours?
Oh, I think it just started off with me wanting to, dress nicer. I like
Mm.
looking nice, and then I'd be on Instagram a lot, be on TikTok. There's a lot of fashion influencers, and I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, they're making their own brand. They're making a name for themselves. They have
Mm.
all these nice clothes. Nice clothes comes with this other lifestyle that maybe I could potentially reach if I continue, um, making clothes and be dedicated to it, which would be cool. Like I see a whole bunch of fashion influencers and stuff and people like that have luxury cars, big houses. That's my goal for the long run.
Uh huh.
But right now, I'm just trying to make something, um, for myself and something for me to be proud of.
No, yeah, definitely, definitely. And no, yeah, and very similar to, like I see myself, yeah, long term wise, like what, right now I'm 20 years old, but I mean, what, by that time I'm like, what, 25, 27, I want to have my nice supercar, I want to be able to have,
Yeah,
my house by then, so like, yeah, but I feel like, now, now it's like the build up phase, now is where I actually have to
yeah,
discipline myself, be consistent with it, because, I know that I don't have to delay my gratification, unlike all these other people, who kind of just live
yeah.
in life day by day. And I mean, I feel like I can say that, because I used to be one of those, I used to just,
Mm,
party, not really care about, like, oh, I'm young, I have time. But in reality,
yeah.
like every day is like, it's time wasted that, I'm not working towards my goals or towards what I want to do. But I kind of want to like, backtrack a little bit, I wanted to kind of ask you, Ivan, you like, what caught your interest in my message? Because like I know I reached out to you and like I reached out to a bunch of people on LinkedIn or like even in person too sometimes like on campus. But like, what made you want to like, reach back out to me, like, actually have like a sit down conversation?
You mentioned entrepreneurship, online business, and mentorship.
Mm,
Those are like the three things that caught my attention. Obviously, I'm trying to build an online business for my clothes.
mm-hmm,
Um, I have friends that are willing to help me, make a website, so that's cool. Mentorship is always, good. Always good to learn from.
mm-hmm,
Always good to have. Uh, and obviously, the online business is going to be my own business, which is going to be entrepreneurship.
mm-hmm,
So it just caught my attention. I'm like, well, hopefully I can learn something from it, and maybe I can make more connections that will
mm-hmm.
eventually help me out in the future.
No, yeah, that's a really good. There's no right or wrong answer, but I really like that
Yeah.
response because just like you, when I first saw, because my business partner Tony reached out to me on LinkedIn as well, and his message was very similar to mine. It was a bit different. I changed it up a little bit, but that's what caught my attention: the mentorship,
Mm.
entrepreneurship, and really just overall, being able to, make some side income. Because I'm like, man, I'm always someone who's like to like have a diverse stream of incomes, not just have like one. Like I like to have multiple. So like, if something
Mm.
happens, have like a backup, something like that. You never know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm curious. Like, have you ever like had like a mentor? Like, have you ever been like mentored by anybody or anything like that before?
Not like that, but I always had my parents.
Okay,
Um, they've always helped me out, give me advice. My tios too.
there you
Most
go.
of my family's like likes to be like seen as this. I'm not trying to say like smart person because they are really smart and they
Hmm.
read a lot and they're like in positions where they worked hard to get where they're at and
Yeah,
that obviously comes with a lot of knowledge
yeah.
and so they just provided me with that knowledge and I just been thinking about what they said every day to me and um, trying to build off that and trying to work hard and show them what I can do, something that they can be proud of.
No, definitely, definitely. Yeah. If you don't mind me asking, what do your parents do?
My parents, my mom is a teacher,
Okay.
not a teacher. She works at a school, handling money. I'm not too sure. Last time I asked her, she works in the office,
Okay.
like an elementary school. And then my dad, he's worked at a bank. He's also had his own business doing landscaping, which I've worked with.
Mm.
I don't know if you've ever done
Yeah,
landscaping, but
I have with my grandparents and my dad too. Yeah.
pain in the
Oh yeah, long
but
hours and the
yeah,
sun, especially in the verano, it's like scorching.
yeah, nah. The hardest job I've done was I think we were like in 85 to 90 degree weather.
Yeah.
Had to dig a 3 foot trench all around the backyard.
Nah.
Had to finish that the whole day, then put in sprinklers and then put the dirt back in. I think landscaping has really taught me something though.
Yeah.
Like that's not something I want to do, but that's something I needed to do to know like if I don't put my mind to something, and do what I actually want to do and hopefully scale my business, this is what
Hmm.
my life might end up looking like. And
Exactly.
that's
No.
not what I want. Yeah.
Exactly. No. Yeah. And I'm actually glad that that you're able to see that because most people don't see something like that, like, oh, they just do it for the money, they're just working. But
Yeah.
just like my grandpa does that for work, and he's been doing that for what, like the last probably like what 5, 10 years now, and he's like in his 50s already. You know, he's almost about to push 60, and he's still doing that. You know, I've gone out
Mm,
there to help him. You know, like what last summer I was just I felt bad. I'm like, yo, Grandpa, let me help you out, bro. Like, dude, that's a lot of
yeah.
work. Like, he had like three different houses he would work on, and like three different cities. So I would like drive him up and down and like toda la herramienta, all the things we used to like cut the trees and stuff like that. So like we even did roofing before too, and so that was like also like a pain. And like
Mm,
I'm over here in the North Bay, so there's like a lot of redwood trees and like a lot of things like just fall on houses. So I understand, and like especially in the summer, oh
yeah.
man, it's terrible. But
It kills. Yeah.
no, yeah, it like that's like hard labor and that gets you tired, bro. So like I can definitely relate with that,
Mm,
on how, I don't want, to have that, lifestyle, because I've experienced it already, like, I this is like, last resort, like if I have nothing, but
yeah.
no, yeah, I mean, you kind of answered this question already, because I was gonna ask, like, who do you go to, like when you ask for advice, things like that. But you kind of said your parents, right? Like, when like you
My
have
parents.
like problems or like what, like maybe a financial advice, things like that. Like you reach out to your parents, right?
Yeah. My parents. My tios. Yeah. Most just them. They help me out a lot.
Oh yeah, and I mean, nothing wrong with that. I was the same exact way. I would only reach out to my mom, my dad, and what maybe like one of my tias, because yeah, she went to college too, and I think she graduated from Berkeley, and she like she had a pretty good job now, and
Mm,
she had a nice house, but you know what I didn't realize is that every time I was taking advice from like my mom, well, I would mostly get advice from my dad because my dad was a bit more on like the smarter side than my mom. I don't want to say educationally, but I want to say like street smart. My dad's a lot more, let's say, street smart. My mom
mm,
did like finish high school, she graduated, things like that, but my dad never did. He kind of just middle school and then he came over here, and that was really he just started working. So he's experienced a lot of life, and so
yeah.
I kind of go to him when it was like would it be like life advice and things like that. And yeah, my dad actually has his own taco truck business. I go help him here and there sometimes. I help him start it up. I made a website for him, and all because of the mentorship that I'm under. I learned how to make a website for my own e-commerce business. So I was like, hey, Dad, I'm gonna make a website for myself. You want me to make one for you? He's like, oh yeah, I need to get put on DoorDash, so make one for me too while you're at it. I bet I got you. I made one for him. Man, it's time consuming, but I ended up doing
Yeah.
it. And so you know, um, sorry, where was I going with this? um, dang, I got sidetracked a little bit. No, but like I was saying, when it comes to like I'd say really just asking for advice when it comes like your parents.
Mm,
I would go to my dad a lot, but what I didn't realize is that my dad was in a lot of debt. He wasn't doing so good financially. Yeah, I would go to him for financial advice, and so like
mm,
something that my coach kind of shared to me was like, hey, like don't you think if you if you take his advice, wouldn't you end up just like him? And I was like, yo, like low key, you have a point. Like I didn't think about it like that because me, I'm gonna be completely honest. I really lacked that critical thinking. I didn't really have the ability to think long term. A year ago, I would kind of just see something and like see it as it was. Like okay, I see that. That's what it is. But I wouldn't ask
yeah.
questions. I didn't have that curiosity. I didn't really like dig deep. I would kind of just tell me something and I'd be like, okay, I need to do that. I was okay with just like that
Mm,
one answer and just taking that advice and applying it right away.
yeah.
But what I didn't see was like, how is my parents doing financially? Are they really credible sources to really be, asking them for this type of information? Not saying
Mm,
don't ask your parents, don't go to your parents. I love my parents, I still ask them, I still keep them posted with what everything I'm doing. And I want to ask them
mm,
for advice. I just kind of evaluate a bit more. I'm like, all right, is this, advice that I should apply? Or should I kind of just filter it out and, just like acknowledge it? But, reach back out to my coaches, to my mentor. Hey,
mm,
is this something I should do? Give me your opinion on this as well. And so that's kind of what I wanted to dive into, a bit more. I kind of wanted to tell you a bit more about my mentor, maybe a little bit about my coach. But to give you like say like some more insight on my mentor, his name is Phil, and he's actually an international student when he came here to this country. He was like
mm,
18 years old, and he came here with broken English, and he had like no money. So he came from Vietnam as like a straight immigrant,
mm,
and by the time he was 22 years old, he was able to retire himself.
yeah.
And
Oh, damn.
yeah, and I was like, when I first heard that, yeah, the same thing. I was like, damn, like, wait, what did he do? Like my first thought was like, oh,
Yeah.
this guy's for surely moving drugs or something. Like, or if
Yeah.
not, or like if not, he's a scammer. Those were my first two thoughts. And I'm like, all
Mm,
right, how did he do it? And so, he didn't stop there. At 23, he retired his mom, and at 24, he retired his dad. And I'm like, okay,
wow.
how did he do this? I had all these questions. And he still didn't stop there because he came from Vietnam. He sponsored both of his parents from Vietnam at the age of 25
Mm-hmm.
and flew them to the US. So now, they're here and, they're living rent free. He's able to, provide for his parents just at the age of 25. And so when I kind of heard that, I'm like, how was he able to do it? Like, like I want to meet this guy. I want to ask him all these questions. And so,
Yeah.
just like you, I was like, man, like, when can I meet him? I actually had the opportunity to meet him. You know, I'd say I went to an in-person meeting, and I had the opportunity to get to meet him. It was in
Mm-hmm.
San Jose, and it was like my first ever business conference, business seminar type of meeting. I've never been to any one of them. I'm not sure. Have you ever been to like a business seminar meeting?
Unfortunately,
Okay,
no.
no, yeah, no worries. I had never gone to one either. I went to one, it was a room full of professionals, college students just like me, and I had sat in the front. And, I'm sitting there taking notes. Me, I'm gonna be honest, I'm someone who's very loud, extroverted. I can talk to a wall. And so, like,
Mm-hmm.
when you put me in an environment where I don't know anybody, man, I become the quickest introvert. I'm like, I'm shy. I don't know nobody. Like, don't talk
Yeah.
to me. They put me on blast. Oh, there's a new person in the front. Christopher, would you stand up and introduce yourself? I'm like, hey, yo, like, wait, I didn't sign up for this. Like, I'm just here to watch. I want to learn about more about the business.
Yeah.
And now they make me stand up. I got a picture of it too. And so, like, at the time, I didn't even know he was my business coach. And so I'm like, I just thought it was like some like random like Vietnamese guy in front of me. I'm like, oh wait, I bet. I guess I'm gonna talk. I go up there,
Mm-hmm.
introduce myself. I say like who invited me, and I really liked the meeting because me like my first impression was like, okay, it's gonna be very professional. I'm gonna go in there. Yes, it was business professional, but bro, my tie wasn't even on the right way. I didn't even know how to tie a tie at the time. It was like this short, so I was like, I had to
Yeah.
button up the suit so you couldn't see it. But um, I remember I was there and I was just like, man, like this is totally not what I expected. People were yelling, people were like super like like fired up. I'd say, and I'm like, man, like, what type of business meeting is this? And I introduced myself. I get to know some more people. I talked to like some people, but I really liked the environment because something that I really took away was that nobody puts nobody down. It's a judgmental free environment, and if anything, people are really just uplifting you there the whole time. And so I'm like, all right, what's the catch? Because me, for my background, I've always gotten backstabbed. People have always done me dirty. So I'm like, what's the catch? Like, all right, when they're gonna be like, all right, this is how much you got to pay, this, and that. I realized that throughout this whole process, because I'm going to be honest, it's a 7 step selection process that people kind of go through. It's, not just for me to evaluate you, but for you to evaluate me, to see if I'm
Mm-hmm.
someone you like to partner with. And,
Yeah.
because of that, that's why we have, like I said, we break it down to 7 steps because, it's a lengthy process. It took me like a month and a half last summer, but my coach did it in like 3 weeks. So it's really all up in your hands. But kind of going back to what I was saying, I was like, man, like what's the catch? Like when you guys gonna charge me money? And that's when I found out, it's completely free, and that's what I like about it because we believe education should be free. So the only thing we really
Mm-hmm.
charge you with is with your time, because we believe time is
Yeah.
more valuable than money. And
Yeah.
we just want to see that you're serious, or you're interested in at least investing some of your time to learn about something new. And that's kind of how we
Mm-hmm.
can see, if you're someone, that we'd like to partner up with maybe in the future. But kind of going back into that story, after the whole meeting ended, I saw my mentor. I saw Phil. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I'm gonna get to pressing. Like, let me see this guy. Like, where's he at? My business partner Tona introduced me to him. I see him. I'm like, hey Phil, I introduce myself. My name is Christopher Castaneda. Nice to meet you. I'm like, I have a few questions for you. He's like, okay, ask away. And I'm like, bet. Like, oh, like I'm about to make him fold. And so I'm like, if what you do is legal and ethical, can you be my mentor? And he told me, he was like, Christopher, he was like, thousands of people ask me that question. Every single business seminar, every single business conference. What makes you different from everybody else? And bro, he had me like shaking in my boots, bro. I was like, what? Like freshman in college, not even like my tie was the right way. I'm over here like, dang, like wait, how do I respond to this? I'm like, oh, I got it. I pulled out my resume on my phone. I'm like, I got 5 years of work experience under my belt. Legally, like illegally, I got like seven. I'm like bet, like I got this. I got this experience. I got this. I worked at the bank, all these things, and then he was like, "You can put your phone away." Like that tells me nothing about you. I'm like, "What do you
Mm-hmm.
mean?" He's like, "You know how many people lie on the resumes?" And at that time, I'm like, "Dang, man, I'm too honest. I should have lied." Nah, I'm just playing. But at that time, I'm like, "What do you mean?" Like I was confused. He's like, "What I look for is people with integrity, people with
Mm.
accountability. If what you say you're gonna do matches what you do, transparency, communication, all these intangible things, things that you can't really see in a person, the first time we meet. You kind of see
Mm.
this after like a long time of knowing somebody. You can kind of see what type of person they are. You know, if their communication is good, if they're transparent with you, and that's where I kind of learned the difference between transparency and honesty. He kind of told me, honesty is hey, if I ask you something, you're gonna tell me. But transparency is you're gonna tell me regardless if I ask you or not. And so when he started talking like talking to me like that, I'm like, man, I can just like feel this guy's I don't want to say like aura, but like I was able to just sense like this guy like like the way he spoke, the way he carried
Yeah.
himself. I've never met anybody like that before. And so I'm all right. Now this guy he knows something I don't know. So I want to
Mm.
learn from him. And that's some advice my dad always gave me. He's like, Christopher, he's like, ponte con gente que saben más de ti. Always surround yourself with
Mm.
people who are smarter than you. He's like, you never want to be the smartest person in the room because then you're going to end up doing everything. He's like,
Mm.
that's why, you really want to make connections. You really want to get to know people. And so after that meeting, I was like, all right, like I got to learn more. I was on the third step. There's 7 steps. And he pretty much just told me, that, you know what? I want to see you come around again. Ask me more questions when you come back. I got to get going. This guy was getting swarmed after I just like talked to him for like that one little like 5 minutes. And so after that, I'm like, man, like I gotta learn more about this. Like I actually want to, get serious about it. I want to learn more about what this is, and just really just like put myself in this association. Really, like plug myself into the system, and I kind of wanted to like now like go into a little bit more about the mentorship, because I feel like it's more than just mentorship. Yes, I have a mentor. Yes, I have a business coach. But what I really look at is what values do they have and what values is it? Because another thing I asked my coach, I mean, my mentor was, oh, I know it's a mentorship. And, me, when I first started, I'm like, you know what? This is my personal life. This is my business life. And so I didn't want to put them together, And he straight up told me, he's like, no, this is like a 360 mentorship. He's like, if you're not going to be open with me about, like your personal problems, about your relationship problems, about your financial problems, don't even ask me, to business for like business advice. Like if you're not gonna open up to me about your own personal like problems, about your like asking advice for yourself, don't even ask about how it can help you in your business. And that really humbled me at the time because I'm like, what do you mean? Like I was like, if something happens in my life, I'll be completely fine. I was in this little David Goggins phase, like, oh, like this can't hurt me. Like I'm good, Like I read the books. I'm like,
Mm.
I got the mental toughness. I'm disciplined. I work out. Da
Yeah.
da da da. Like I'm good. He's like, all right, Christopher. He's like, you said you had a girlfriend, right? I'm like, yeah, we're almost gonna be together for 5 years. This, and that. He's like, all right. If your girlfriend broke up with you right now, would you still want to build your business? And I was like, no. He's like, exactly. So it's gonna affect you emotionally, right? And I was like, yeah. And like, so if it affects you emotionally, you're gonna go in downtime and not want to build your business. So if you're not gonna ask me for help with your relationship and your emotional feelings first, why should I even help you with your business? And when he broke it down to me like that, I'm like, yo, like you're like, why can't I think like that? Like
Mm.
why do I have this ego? Why am I cocky? Like why can't I humble myself? And so just like little interactions like that really made me realize, like, all right, dang, like I really need to like, humble myself, but also be more like curious and actually want to grow,
Mm.
not just put like a barrier and like, just like avoid all my problems. Cause that's something I did a lot,
Yeah.
people would tell me things and I would just like fight back. I wouldn't really like, accept the problem. But
Mm.
I'd say, that's like a little bit about like the mentorship. There's a bit more, like some things that, I really liked a lot when it came to like, no smoking, no drinking, no vulgarity. And I've never really been in those like associations where people don't, like do any of those things because I grew up smoking was always around me. Drinking was always in my family. And so
Mm.
like it was kind of just all these things were always around me. So I just thought it was like regular. I thought it was common. Like, oh, I'm smoking. It's fine. Like what? I was addicted to smoking for like the longest time. Because of
Mm.
this association, I was able to be sober for like what, 246 days. Yes, I fell back. Yes, I opened up to them. Yes, I told them, hey, I fell back into this addiction. I've been smoking for 3 weeks. Can I get some help? You're like, oh,
Mm.
you know what? We appreciate you telling us, but next time, maybe you should have told us a little bit sooner so we could have, seen how to help you better.
Mm.
And I reflected on that. I'm like, yeah, you know what? You guys are right. I took too long, but still, they welcomed me back with open arms. They didn't judge me for what I did. They never judged me for getting arrested, and so just all these things in my past, were the regular people, like 95% of the world would judge me. Oh, you did that, you did this, you did those 5% of people who I hang around with now, they accept me, they help me,
Yeah.
and so that's something that I really appreciate. So that's also why I really like the mentorship, because it's not just like a business mentorship, but it's like a life mentorship is what I like to say.
Mhm.
And so that's just a little bit more about it. But yeah, I mean, I know I kind of gave you already like a lot there. I don't know if you have like any questions, comments, things like that you kind of want to ask. Or if not, I mean, I can kind of just talk to you a little bit more about what the business model kind of is. Um, but feel free to ask any questions, anything like that.
Just right now, I'm just like taking it all in. I'll eventually have questions, but I'm just like processing stuff.
No, yeah, no worries, no
But
worries.
yeah,
Yeah,
what
so
you told me sounds like a really good environment to learn and grow.
oh yeah, definitely. I know. Like when I first heard all this, I'm like, oh dang, it's kind of a lot, So like I was kind of just quiet, like you too, but um, kind of got to going more into like I'd say like surface level, like the most surface level, like knowledge I can kind of tell you about. Like I said, like this business, it's e-commerce and franchising. I'm pretty sure
Mhm.
you're familiar with e-commerce. Like I can use Uber or like Airbnb for an example. Do you know how those
Mhm.
kind of business models work or no?
Yeah, for the most part.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, kind of just like breaking it down. Well, Uber doesn't own any cars. They just own the
Yeah.
platform. They just own an application. And with the application, excuse me, people download it to be, drivers or dashers, whatever it is, and they use their own car.
Mhm.
And, maybe, no, and Uber connects people who need a car, I mean, who need a ride, who have the money to pay for, someone who, needs money, who has a car. And so Uber connects both those people together. So Uber's like the middleman. And let me ask you, and maybe that one transaction, maybe the driver makes like 96% of like, the total of the amount of money. And Uber maybe makes like what? Like let's say like 6%. Who do you think makes more money in that transaction?
In that transaction alone,
Yeah, in that transaction alone.
I feel like I feel like Uber does because not they're making the small amount of money, but it allows people to trust them more and be like, oh, these drivers are um, people I'm willing to get in the car with and drop me off places. So I'm gonna use it again and again and again and
Mm,
again, and that makes people come back to their app, and people keep using it. That's why they're such a big app and so widely used.
okay, no, yeah. That's actually a really good way to look at it. I never looked at it like that. Kind of just looked at it like the financial standpoint, but you're kind of looking at more
Hmm.
of like the credibility standpoint, like, like the longevity of it. And you're not wrong. Maybe in that transaction, maybe the driver makes more financially, but yeah, maybe Uber does gain more, because people are gonna want to come back and use the app again. So Uber does
Yeah,
win. And if you zoom out and you think about it, like globally, we know who's making the most money there. Because think
yeah.
about it, Uber, yeah, the driver makes 94%. But think about it. Let's say there's like 10,000 drivers in LA,
Hmm.
and Uber's making 6% off of those 10,000 drivers. That's a lot of money. And that's just
That's a lot of money.
LA. And there's probably more than
Hmm.
10,000. So, that's a lot of
Hmm.
money. And then if you think globally, all around the world, 6% of each transaction is a lot of money. And so
Yeah.
that's kind of like the most I'd say like surface level e-commerce explanation I can kind of give you. Same thing with Airbnb. It's literally like the same concept, but for franchising. I'm not sure if you're familiar with like Starbucks, McDonald's, things like that. Those are big franchises.
Hmm.
So that's another kind of I'd say like term that we like to use because you know something that I've noticed is that yeah, franchising is simple, but it's not easy. And it's not easy because I bet you or me together don't have $1.2 million to
Yeah.
buy our own McDonald's. And so
Yeah.
that's like the I'd say like the hard part say because of the scalability. You can't really teach someone else to open up a new McDonald's. You kind of have to like, hey, if you want to get a new one, you gotta have the capital for that. And it's not
Hmm.
even like have like the capital in like cars or houses. Like you need to have it liquid. You got to
Hmm.
have it in your bank or just in cash, and that's a lot of money. And so
Yeah.
the reason I say it's simple though is because every McDonald's is very very similar. They have a drive-through. Their menu is exactly the same. They like anybody can work there. Like, it's not rocket science, to flip patties. Like, they even have like the sheets for you. One of my business partners used to work at McDonald's. He told me all about it. He was like, hey, bro, like my little brother can work here and probably get paid the same amount as me because like it's like step by step process. They break it down for you, and so that's why I say it's simple. And so kind of comparing that, to my business, it's this business is simple, because there's really only two things you really need to do, and that's really just go out, network with people, and then two, just share a product and service. And I'd say it's not easy because we're people. We have personal problems. You know, we're college students. You know, financials. Finances. We might not have the best finances at such a young age. We have life. What I had some addictions in the past. That I've been able to overcome. So we're people. We have a lot of problems. We have a lot of things that come up in our life. Our car breaks down. You know, things happen. Like we're
Yeah.
people. So we're all human. It's human nature to just go in downtime, get depressed. Yeah, I don't things like that. Things just happen in life, and so losing a loved one, things like that. But I like to, let's say, like, use that example because I feel like it really like aligns with this, like business model more. And I could go more into depth about it, but I mean, I don't want to like keep you here, for like what, like the next 3 hours and kind of tell you everything about my business right now.
Yeah.
So that's why I kind of, like that's why we have like a 7-step selection process. We like to break it down, so we're not in a meeting for like 3 to 5 hours and just one sit down
Yeah.
meeting because I don't think you or I would want to do that together. Just like, just not like we got things to do. We got a
Yeah.
life, and so I mean, I want to ask you, do you have like any questions, comments, concerns, anything like that?
I'm just interested to hear more about what you guys do and how you guys would be able to help, me grow and potentially do what you guys do, in a way that I could apply it, to myself and my business and what I'm trying to do.
Oh, definitely, yeah. And so I kind of actually wanted to not just ask you if you'd like to meet up again, maybe for a second time, to introduce you to my business partner, who actually did a clothing brand like you, very similar in the past.
Mhm.
He was doing that. I'm pretty sure he did it with him and one of his friends. Like, I think he was a senior in high school. He was doing his own clothing brand. I think he did like two of them. I'm not too sure, but I know he for sure did one, and it was like successful short term, but they didn't really like bump heads the right way, and so they kind of just ended up
Mhm.
splitting things apart. So it kind of just went
Yeah.
sideways. But I know he can definitely go more in depth about that when you get to meet him, if you'd like to meet him. But I actually,
Yeah, of
would like to
course.
like send you maybe some material, that my mentor recommends, when people, who are interested, in learning about our business and about what we do. But I feel like it also might be able to help, maybe apply a little bit of it to, your business, also like what you want to do. So I kind of want to ask, are you someone who, do you like to read?
Yeah, I do like actually.
Yeah. Okay. No. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. I talked to a lot of people and they're like, nah, I don't like reading. And I'm gonna be honest. I used to be one of those. I would never read, but
Mhm.
now I like, you won't ever see me leaving my house without a book or like with a book here. Like I know I got one on my desk right now, and then I got one in my backpack. So it's like I'm always going somewhere with the books. I know like my free time. All right, I got 10, 15 minutes. Let me read real quick. So
Mhm.
I've learned, that you can learn a lot in just like what, learn like 5 years worth of knowledge in just what, in like what, maybe like a in total like 5, 7 hour read in a book, like like depending on how
Mhm.
fast you read. But no, yeah, I'd actually like to send you a book. Then it's called, I'm not sure if you've heard of the author before, Robert Kiyosaki. He wrote the book called Rich Dad Poor Dad.
I think I've heard of that book.
Okay,
I've
yeah.
heard of
So
that. Yeah.
yeah, no. So like, the same author, he wrote this book called Business of the 21st Century, and he kind of goes more in depth about the business model, the structure of my business, and how it works. And so
Mhm.
definitely, like if you were to read that book, I can send you the shortened version because the long version is pretty long. So I'll send you like the shortened version. It's like, I think, like 50 pages. Shouldn't take you so
Mhm.
long. I can send like a PDF of it, and it should really kind of break down some things for you, and also maybe even answer some of your questions because, like you said, you
Yeah.
might not have any now, but definitely I know you will have some in the future, and so just be feel free to ask me, sure, reach back out to me, but yeah, I'd like to send you that book, and I kind of want to ask, like, I'm not sure, what commitments, what things you got going on right now. I know you said you're trying to get a job, so I kind of want to ask, like, how long you think it would maybe take you to like finish reading the book.
The 50-page book?
Yeah, it's like 50 pages. Yeah, like around there.
Week and a half? Yeah, probably.
For
Um,
sure. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
it shouldn't take me too long.
yeah,
If it's something like I really enjoy, I can finish 50 pages in a day.
yeah, no, yeah, no, definitely. I know what you mean. I've sat down before. I'm just like reading a book. Like right now I'm reading well, I'm reading two books right now. I'm reading The Five Love Languages. One obviously because
Hmm.
I have a girlfriend and I want to like learn more about that. But another one I'm reading
Hmm.
is also How I Raised Myself from Failure to Success.
Yeah.
And so I'm reading that one right now as well. But yeah, no, I remember one time I just spent like what, like 2 hours reading. I'm like, dang, I just read half the book. Like I didn't even realize, but
Yeah.
like time just flew by. And so yeah, I could definitely send you that book. But I also wanted to ask you, is there like a better way we can stay in contact? Because yes, I'm on LinkedIn, but I want to ask maybe if we can change numbers because that's something I look at like right away. Like if you text me
Yeah.
on my mobile, like I'll just be able to respond way quicker than on LinkedIn. Because man, I need to get a little bit better checking my LinkedIn, but
Hmm.
I'm not always on it 24/7. Like if I were to just get
Yeah.
it, I think here I can
Yeah,
type
of
out
course.
my phone number right here. You have any plans for today though, Ivan?
Um, Gotta make myself food. Haven't eaten yet.
Dang, bro,
Uh,
it's almost like lunchtime right now.
I know. I know. I should have eaten before, but
My bad, my bad.
it feels good just to lay in bed, you know.
No, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. I I woke up early today and what was it? I went to go get some groceries for my mom and then I also took my sister to school and I was like, all right,
Oh.
I gotta lay back. I gotta lay back down. So I just passed out again and I'm like, oh wait, I forgot. I got a meeting with my boy Ivan. Like let me get up and ready for this. I ate some breakfast before. I had my protein shake. Did my workout too. So that felt good.
Mhm.
But man, I feel bad now. I was over here holding you up for like an extra hour and haven't eaten yet. But
No, you're cool. You're cool. I'm actually used to eating around this time.
oh yeah.
Yeah, cause I'm not really too hungry in the morning. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'll get up, do what I have to do, and
Yeah.
then it hits me real fast. I'm
No,
like,
I know
oh,
what you
now I'm
mean.
hungry.
Yeah,
I
no,
gotta
and
eat.
you just start munching. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
But no, yeah. Another thing I kind of wanted to ask you too, Ivan. It was awesome getting to know you a little bit more, getting to talk to you. But I wanted to ask like, when you like to meet up again, maybe for like a second time, I can definitely introduce you to my business partner, the one who introduced me to this opportunity. But also so you can kind of get a more maybe more of a clear reference point, maybe for your business as well, because I know he did that business and he's actually he works for Meta, and he's also working as a I think it's what a sales position for Metro. So he's working like two jobs right
Mhm.
now, but he's kind of someone just like us. He's done a lot of hustling, like at a very young age. And
He works for Metro.
no, he works
The
from
the
yeah, he works for Metro, like the phone sale company.
Oh, I actually work for T-Mobile.
Oh yeah,
So I did sales too. Yeah.
hey,
Yeah, I've
hey,
done that.
my look, I don't want to flex any of that. But you just said T-Mobile. My business coach, he's actually the top 1% salesperson for T-Mobile.
For
Yeah,
real?
yeah, and they
That's crazy.
I remember they just I'm just sharing this because I remember my coach just shared it with me recently. He shared it with with not just me but all of his business partners and associates as well too.
Mhm.
And he sent us like the screenshot of the email. Like T-Mobile was gonna give him like a I think it was like a 3 or like 5 day like paid vacation to like
Yep.
somewhere like either Austin, Texas. I don't know where it was specifically, but I know it was like a paid vacation for like being like the top 1%. And
Hmm.
he actually declined it, and we were all like, "What? Why?" He's like, oh, because my goal, my dreams, I have a bigger vision than just this. I really want to delay my gratification. So I really like look up to that and I admire that because me personally, I'm
Hmm.
gonna be honest, I probably would have taken it, but my
I probably
coach,
would take it too.
exactly, you see, and but my coach was like, nah, I can foresee this. This is just gonna hold me back from my own personal goals. And what they
Hmm.
actually did was because he declined the request, just recently, like yesterday, the day before, they sent him a check for $2,500. They sent him a whole box, like he got to pick his own Converse, his own Ray Bans. Like they sent him a whole package because he declined it, and then they still
Oh,
gave him like a huge raise on top of like $2,500 check and a bunch of other stuff. I'm like, dang. He's like, and then he shared with us. He's like, look, if you guys just delay your gratification, and kind of just leave it up to God. He's gonna come back and he's gonna gift you. And he wasn't expecting
mm,
anything when he declined that request because they wanted to pay for the flight, hotel, all the expenses. But he said no,
mm,
and then they
yeah.
still pay him on all these things back on top of a raise. And so I'm like, nah, like this guy's like like so like when you said that like I tried working there too. He referred me. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get the position because like I think I just they like went on with other candidates, but yeah,
Mhm.
that's also really good that you're in a sales position. I feel like that they give you a lot more real world experience
Yeah.
as well too. But yeah, my business partner works for Metro, but he works for Meta as well too. So he kind of goes there sometimes and helps out. But he works there for sales for Meta as well. So yeah, but
Hmm.
yeah, no, I mean, I wanted to ask like when do you think you'd be able to meet up again or be free to have like maybe like I'd say maybe like an hour and a half, 2 hours max, just because we might want to show you some slideshows and show you like the business model and like the structure of how this really works.
Hmm. Well, what's today? Wednesday. I'm free tomorrow. Um, Friday also, or no, not Friday actually. Friday this weekend I'm going back to LA. I have to go do something,
Hmm.
but I'll be back Sunday, and then Monday through Friday I should be available. And I'll just tell you the times I plan to work.
Mm-hmm.
Because I picked up shifts, but like I work on campus. So I work at the DC, right?
Oh wait, oh you work at the DC?
Yeah, I'm a student manager there.
Hey, there you go. Okay, so you wear like the red
Hmm.
shirts then, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, for sure, for
Hmm.
sure.
So right now we're working at the lab. I just picked up shifts, see which shifts get approved because obviously there's a lot of requests and only a limited amount of time for us to work.
Yeah.
So I'll see what days I work, what times, and I'll let you know. And then the days I don't work, we can set up a time
Yeah, for sure
to
then.
meet.
Wait, so I'm kind of curious then. So you're not in LA then? You're staying in Merced or?
Yeah, I'm in Merced right now. Mhm.
Okay, for sure. Wait, so you live in Merced or you live in LA?
I live in LA. Like my parents and everybody's in LA, but I'm just staying in Merced for summer. I'm
Mm.
renting a house, so
Oh,
I'm in a
okay.
house right now.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
That makes okay for
I
sure.
live off campus. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Hey, props to you, bro. That's actually really nice. I wanted
Thank
to do that too, but yeah, I just came back home for the summer. I'm like, all right, you know what? I was living on
you.
campus, that's why. But
Hmm.
no, yeah. I mean, that's dope then, man. Yeah, just stay in communication with me, and yeah. I mean, wait. So I'm kind of curious. My bad. I mean, I keep asking questions, but you said you work for
Yeah.
T-Mobile. So you're doing T-Mobile and you're doing the DC or Pass?
No, I worked for T-Mobile. I
Oh,
used to
worked.
work for
Okay.
them, and
Oh, okay.
I worked for them last summer in LA. I actually got
Mm.
the job because I had a connection,
Mm.
and that got set up like pretty fast. So I worked for them for 2 months, and then I was trying to get transferred over here actually, but the T-Mobile I worked for was owned by a third-party company called Wireless Vision, not
Mm.
actually
I
T-Mobile.
see. I
So
see.
they couldn't transfer me over here, and the nearest
Yeah.
place was an hour away, and
I
I
see.
was not gonna drive an hour.
Yeah, that commute's just
Bro.
too much gas and time. I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Okay, no, yeah,
Hmm.
for sure. No, yeah, my bad. I just wanted a little bit of clarity because I'm like, dang, like this guy's hustling two jobs and he's like doing soccer and he's like, damn, this guy's on top of it. Like I don't know how. Like I need to learn from this guy and his time
Yeah.
management skills. But
I've actually had a few jobs. I think the job that T-Mobile was amazing. Like if I could have kept working there, I would. I actually thinking about applying here, and I'm still thinking about it. I just don't know if it aligns with the time I have to like finish school and work at the DC
yeah,
and go over there, and then have time for myself,
no, yeah,
like
I know what you mean.
working out, soccer. But I also worked at Domino's. I
Okay,
was a delivery driver.
there you go.
Domino's, if you need like quick money, be a delivery driver at Domino's. Oh my God. I was getting like close to $500 in tips every week, plus my paycheck.
Oh yeah,
And
no,
I
yeah.
and I have a friend that manages a Domino's in downtown LA. He's like,
Oh, dang,
oh, whenever you need a job, come, I got you.
I know that's
So that's
tough.
always a good connection to have,
There you go.
if I ever go back.
No,
Hmm.
definitely. Yeah, yeah. I feel like, definitely leverage your networks, and that's what I learned, like growing up, I'm like, all right, I needed a job at the bank. All right. I worked at the bank already before. Let me hit up my old manager, my old service manager, my branch manager. They put in a good word for me. I got the job like that. And not just that, they
Hmm.
gave me a raise too. And I'm like, oh, bet, I'll take it. I'm not
Yeah.
complaining. So like, I'm with that. But yeah, bro. I mean,
How is the bank, by the way?
it's a really good job. I
Because
recommend it.
my dad keeps trying to get me to work there because he actually was a manager of two banks.
Oh yeah, no, it's good money, bro. I'm not gonna lie. Just recently, my girlfriend got hired as an associate banker. Now she's gonna start making
Hmm.
27.50 an hour, and I just got hired as a bank teller. But I told them
Uh-huh.
that I already had experience with it. I already did the training. I already did all this. Would it be possible to get a raise? I was getting 22 back
Hmm.
then. Now I'm gonna start getting 25, 30, and so
Hmm.
I only worked at the bank for like 2 months. Like last summer, that was it. But I was like, oh,
Hmm.
I have all this experience. Like, can I get more? And they gave me more. But yeah, I said definitely say go for it. If you need a reference, feel free. I could try to give you a reference.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I definitely say you Wells Fargo, Chase. You definitely want to I'd say partner maybe with one of those two really good
Hmm.
companies. But yeah, bank teller. That's like the entry level position. And if you're
Hmm.
lucky, like my girlfriend, definitely go into the bank, try to make connections, try to get to know the managers, and be like, hey, are you guys hiring by any chance? You get the job like that, bro. Go and dress sharp how you are right
Yeah.
now. They'll give you the job.
Actually, I actually have three people in my life. My dad, my stepmom, and my dad's friend.
Uh
They
huh.
all used to be like bank managers,
Oh
and they
yeah.
all work at a bank. They're always like telling me, "Oh, you should go into bank,
Yeah, it's good.
work at
Yeah.
a bank because it's good money when you start,
Yeah.
and then it just gets even better." So I was like always thinking about it. Maybe I might actually have to because what'd you say, 25, 30, 22 is even.
No,
I mean,
20,
I get paid.
22 is
I
great.
get
Yeah.
paid.
So when I was getting
Yeah.
paid 22, I'm like, dang, I felt like I was rich. And then they called me just yesterday, the recruiter, like, oh, also, by the way, I was able to get you a $3.20 raise. I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, oh, you're going to get 25.30 an hour. And I'm like, I was left speechless. And she's like, wait,
Yeah.
is that okay? Is that bad? Like, you're not saying anything. And I'm like, no, that's perfect. That's amazing. And she's like,
Amazing.
oh,
Yeah.
okay. She's like, okay, bet. And she was like more happy than me, but I was just in shock. I'm like, bro, I'm 20 years old. I'm getting 25.30. Like, that's almost like a salary type of job now. Like, I think it's
Yeah.
like around like 40K now, like my yearly like salary would be. Um, but yeah, no, I mean, I was really excited when I heard that. So I'm just gonna kind of follow through with it, keep it going. But yeah, I don't want to keep you too long, Ivan. But dude, it was great talking to you today. Definitely want to hear back from you. And
Same here.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'll respond to your message right now. I saw you sent me a message. I'll save your number and I'll send you the book. So I'll ask you also if you can
Yeah.
access it or not. But yeah, man, we'll keep in touch. And it was awesome getting to
Yeah.
know you today, bro.
Yeah. I'll send you my personal email too right now, so you can send me the book through PDF on
Okay,
through
yeah, for
there.
sure. I
Yeah.
can send it to you through there then. Yeah,
Yeah.
sounds good
Okay.
then, Ivan. You have a good rest of your day, my man. And it was good getting to
You
know you.
too. Same here.
All right, peace
Have
out,
a
my
good
man.
day. Bye.